Hey everybody, happy Monday. Oh my god, it's a new week, and I think that this is gonna be a really nice video. We're gonna basically be doing a little follow-up on a video that I made about a month ago in Spanish, and I talked about this really wonderful method that I have, and I call it Little Language Projects, and it's a fantastic method. I love it for both maintaining multiple languages and in particular keeping up with multiple languages over a long period of time. But it's also great even if you are focused on a single language, and it's a good way to make sure that you keep your skills balanced, because very often we might have a tendency to really get in a good rhythm with listening. Maybe we have a podcast, maybe we have several podcasts, maybe we have a TV show we're watching, or all kinds of stuff, but perhaps reading is something that we know we want to do, but it's not a part of our regular routine and we don't have any momentum. And so these little language projects are a fantastic way in that example to just say, you know what, I'm gonna spend a whole week and all I'm gonna really focus on this week is reading, and then I'll go back to my usual routine. And so cycling these sort of little language projects all throughout your months and your years, it's a really good way to make sure you still do things that you know you need to do, you know you want to do, but for whatever reason, life makes it impractical to be doing all these things all the time. So that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about my experience doing one of these language projects with Spanish this last month, and it's gonna be great. So today I am drinking some really nice espresso, the Short Strand blend from Andytown, in a tulip mug. So without further ado, let's jump in. I really like this, it's really good. Okay, so just to recap and to sort of set the stage for why I did this language project, I'm gonna give you some background on my situation in terms of languages at the time when I started. So many of you will know that I've been documenting my journey learning Mandarin Chinese for a couple of years now, and it's been a really, really interesting process. I documented everything from when I first began learning the language all the way through to having my very first real conversation here on this channel. It's been really fun. It's been a slow process because I've been so busy and I've had to balance my Mandarin studies with so many things. And I've also, a few months ago, started reviving my German skills, so I've been documenting that as well. And in the beginning, it was extremely challenging to make both of those languages a real genuine part of my daily and weekly language study routine. But I really got there, and so after a while, it got to where I feel like I was doing a really good job of just getting plenty of German and Mandarin Chinese study in every day, and certainly every week. But the thing is, as many of you will know, I have a lot of other languages that I've learned in the past, that I've spoken to varying degrees of fluency, and that, I still do, but my current level of fluency in all these languages certainly also varies, and so Spanish is an example of a language that I adore, I love it, and I think my Spanish was pretty advanced in the past. I mean, I don't know really, you could say solid B2 perhaps, or I don't know, maybe you could say edging into C1 if you want to use the CEFR scale, but I think of my Spanish having been pretty much like just in those beginning stages of advanced, right? So this is the stage. It's that a month ago we've got, okay, German is really coming back strong now. I did my first all German video, great. Mandarin is still going, but it's a bit slow, and I'm starting to lose a bit of momentum and feel like I need to rethink my strategy. And then we've got Spanish over here that I'm feeling guilty about. I haven't touched it for so long. I don't even know really how well I can speak Spanish anymore. And I get an invitation to do an interview on a really large YouTube channel in Spanish, amongst other languages. And so this felt like a perfect time for me to do a little language project. And so what these are, as I kind of described in the beginning, and I'll also link to that video down below in Spanish. It has English subtitles, and I'll talk more about that in that video. But, it's where you say to yourself, I have a pretty specific objective. It's easy to define. It has a fixed duration, meaning it's not an open-ended goal. I'm not saying, all right, I'm just gonna study Spanish for a while. No, I'm saying, in my case, in 3.5 weeks, thereabouts, I have an interview in Spanish. So that's like the end result of this little language project is doing my very first ever interview in Spanish. And then to get there, I had a sort of series of activities I did to prepare. So first thing I did the very next day was I did a video in Spanish. So that's the video that you can see down below where I talked about this method. And that was really cool. It was really successful. I was honestly really surprised and really happy that I could still get through 10 or 15 minute video, no problem, and express myself relatively clearly. And then I was testing out the language learning app Busuu because they reached out to me and asked me if I would be willing to test their app and give an honest review. I told them, yep, I'll do it, but I'm not gonna just use it for a few days and then pretend I know it. I wanna use it for at least a full month. So this was a great opportunity to test out their Spanish course for a month. And then I did some passive and active listening. So as I've talked about on this channel, I did a video recently about my transcription method, which is a very active way of listening and transcribing a podcast myself. And I also did a lot of passive listening to YouTube videos, podcasts, and so on. And so that's what I did. And last week, I filmed my Spanish interview with the amazing YouTube channel El Jardín de Martín. And that's gonna be coming out sometime this week, I think, on his channel. I'll link that down below once again. So it's done, right? And so the idea here was that I'll keep doing German, but I'm going to pause my Mandarin Chinese studies during the month where I'm focusing all that time on Spanish. And so I have to say, it was an absolutely massive success in terms of my goal in doing these language projects. My Spanish before the project was, it was rusty, but most of all, it's my relationship with Spanish was in tatters. I felt guilty for having not studied Spanish for so long. It felt like I actually just wrote a language learning diary post on my Patreon page yesterday, and I described it as, I felt like if I were to speak Spanish, then the language would just pack its stuff, divorce me, and leave me forever, inside my head. Like I felt guilty about having neglected Spanish. And it's kind of unhealthy, it makes me certainly feel this underlying sense of anxiety, just knowing that I have this language that I love, that I used to speak quite well, and that I feel like I haven't given the attention it deserves. And so most of all, this month of doing Spanish, it just absolutely rejuvenated and rekindled my relationship with Spanish. I also feel like it really just got me back in the game. It also helped my confidence because it showed me, wow, I've still got it. I can still speak Spanish, like pretty okay. I've now done my first interview in Spanish, and so I actually have another interview scheduled for next Sunday, which is going to be an Instagram Live. I'll give you more information about that on Friday's video. But so it just got me back in the game, and I feel so wonderful now. And I do feel like even though I finished my little language project, I think that now Spanish is going to be a big part of my life again. I think I'm going to naturally create more opportunities to speak it, both in my daily life, but also things like these other interviews. And I just feel really good. But the other side of it is that now I've had a bit of a break from Mandarin Chinese, Now I'm able to take a step back and look at the state of my Mandarin right now. And it allows me to sort of recalibrate and say, okay, what would the best strategy be right now for my Mandarin Chinese studies? Not what's the thing I was already doing, not, well, what did I start and maybe I'll just keep going because I started it. No, this is now a great opportunity to just take a step back. Maybe I'll make a brand new tracking sheet for Mandarin Chinese. I made a bunch of videos showing you my German tracking sheet. So maybe I'll make a brand new one for Chinese. And like I said, just recalibrate and say, what's the best thing for my Mandarin Chinese going forward? And what's left for me to do to get to that first really huge goal of just becoming comfortable expressing myself in Mandarin and potentially filming my second real conversation here on this channel perhaps, and seeing if I can actually be comfortable next time versus being terrified every time I have to open my mouth. Because it is still very scary for me to speak Mandarin Chinese, and I do think that because it's taken me so long to learn the language, it's been over 2 years now, I think that my momentum has been a lot slower than I'm used to, which is fine. I think that's a realistic way to learn a language, but I feel like I need to go back and do some consolidation, to do some review of the most basic things. And so I'll do a video soon, I think, taking you through the process of re-strategizing my Mandarin studies. And so that's basically all I want to tell you today. It's that I just think I had such a fantastic experience doing this 1-month Spanish project, and I highly, highly recommend it for anybody. Again, whether you're learning a single language and you think, you know what, I've been reading really consistently, I'm on a roll, my reading skills are so good now, but I haven't been listening enough. Do a week-long listening project, do a month-long, get an audiobook and say, all right, I'm gonna now switch my focus and I'm just gonna listen to this audiobook every day, and then when it's done, I'll go back to my usual routine. These can be based on a length of time, like 1 week or 1 month, or they can be based on completing an activity, right? So completing a book, completing something, a TV series, whatever it is. But like I said, it's especially helpful for people who study multiple languages. And like in my case, I now have a series of languages that I haven't really been giving attention to for some time. So throughout the year, just doing these projects, it's a fantastic way to bring those skills back, to spend quality time with those languages without the pressure and stress of somehow fitting all of them into my daily and weekly routine. And with that, I leave you. I think my coffee's probably just about still warm. It's a little cold, but it's fine, it's fine. So I wish you a fantastic Monday, a great new week, and I'll see you back here on Wednesday for another video.